Las Vegas has seen its share of spectacular moments, but there was a different kind of electricity inside Allegiant Stadium on fight night. The air felt heavy in the best way, as if everyone in the building understood they were about to witness something more than just a title fight. And then the bell rang. By the time it was over, there was no confusion, no controversy, and no way to spin what happened into anything less than a statement from Terence "Bud" Crawford. He came up in weight, stood across from Canelo Alvarez, the fighter who was defined an era and boxed like the pound-for-pound king. It wasn't chaos or a brawl. It was measured, methodical, and mastered. Crawford dictated the geography. He froze Canelo's options with timing and footwork. He won the small moments that add up to rounds and then to a fight. And he made one of the most reliable pressure fighters in boxing look like a man trying to solve a riddle without the last clue. Canelo supporters expected something different. More forward pressure, more body work, more the left hook that's made so many bigger men fold when they drop their guard for a millisecond. After all, this was supposed to be Canelo's domain. Super middleweight, a division Crawford had never inhabited. A stage Canelo has owned on Mexican holiday weekends in Las Vegas. Instead, the Mexican superstar looked uncharacteristically heavy on his feet. It wasn't just conditioning. It was what happens when an opponent steals half steps, steals time, and steals your best punch before you can throw it. In the aftermath, one veteran fighter said what a lot of fans were thinking. Great fight. I just expected more action from Canelo. He paused and added something astute. He always has trouble with movers. It wasn't a dig. It was a pattern. And on this night, the pattern was inescapable. Crawford's movement wasn't about running. It was about denying Canelo the one thing he needs to build momentum, position. You could almost feel the frustration in the body language. You could see the small adjustments. Trying to feint the jab inside, looking for the step left to set the right hand, and still finding glove and air instead of target. Some will want to frame this as a story about decline. They'll use a word that fans throw around too easily, washed, and try to retrofit it to explain what they saw. But the voices that matter most dismiss that instantly. It doesn't matter where he is in his prime. Another fighter said post-fight. Two guys risked it, and the better man won tonight. That was Crawford. The truth rarely needs dressing. On this night, the better man fought in southpaw, steered the fight where he wanted it, and never let Canelo Alvarez play the game he's used to winning. The scorecards, 115 to 113 and 116 to 112, brought the usual debate, as scorecards always do. Some at ringside had it wider for Crawford. A few thought Canelo grabbed 3 rounds at most. The numbers, though, were secondary to the feel. The fight felt one-sided not because Canelo did nothing, but because everything he did had a counter waiting for it. Crawford started most rounds by making an impression in the first 30 seconds, which matters more than fans sometimes realize. Judges remember who takes control early. Opponents remember it even more. Then came the press conference, less theater than therapy. Canelo was forthright. He didn't mumble excuses into a microphone or pointed details on some far-off horizon. We already knew Crawford is a great fighter, he said. I did what I was supposed to do. I tried every way and I trained really hard, and he deserves all the credit. I tried my best tonight, and I just could not figure out the style. When someone asked him what specifically bothered him, speed, power, angles, his answer was as honest as any he's ever given. Everything, he said simply. He had everything. Crawford faced the cameras with the same calm he carried into the ring. He didn't act surprised. He didn't pretend this was some cosmic twist of fate. When I set my sights on doing something and I know what I'm capable of, it's not a surprise to me, he said. It's a surprise to y'all, because y'all didn't believe me. I knew I could do it. I just needed the opportunity. When he was pressed on when he knew he would beat Canelo, he smiled and said, when he signed a contract, it wasn't chest thumping. It was conviction. The kind built in small gyms, on lonely runs, and with sparring partners who never make it to big nights. There was a head clash, a cut on Crawford's brow that forced a brief pause in the action. One of those moments where the biology of fight threatens to reshape the narrative. It didn't. Crawford confirmed he would need stitches afterward, but shrugged off the drama. The round resumed. The tempo remained the same. The fight belonged to him again in seconds. A question-consumed talk shows and group chats in the hours after the final bell. What next? For Crawford, there were two camps. Those who believe in neat endings said this would be the perfect time to walk away. "I want Bud to retire," one top fighter said. "He accomplished everything in boxing already, made a lot of money. Go spend time with his family." The other camp, the one that feeds on dream matchups in exotic cities, said the opposite. "Keep going. Cash in on the greatest night of your career with another night that can add to the legend." There's no wrong answer. Crawford earned the luxury of choosing exactly what he wants, without apology. For Canelo, the calculus is predictable and yet deeply personal. He remains, as one veteran reminded everyone, still one of the greatest fighters of our time. He will not be judged solely by this night, and he should not be. He can take time, return against a top contender at super middleweight, win a statement fight, and regain belts. He can seek a challenge at 175 again. He can reject a rematch with Crawford or demand it. He's a champion. He can do whatever he wants. One of his peers said. That might be the one sentence everyone agreed with. If you want to know how the fight unfolded in a way that matters beyond the box score, listen to the breakdowns from people who live in the fine print. They were struck not just by Crawford's speed, but by his choices. The southpaw stance never changed. No flashy switching, no experiments, just what worked. He threw combinations, nothing forced, nothing wasted, and stayed disciplined to the plan. He landed early, landed often, and never let Canelo slice the ring into his preferred lanes. Catch and shoot is a phrase fans hear a lot. This was a textbook. Block, return, slide. Block, pivot, jab. Each micro-exchange added up to a round, then a scoreboard, then a night that felt authoritative. One analyst who has been around Canelo's camps pointed to something subtle but telling. His feet looked heavy, he said. "I've never seen them like that." He wasn't saying Canelo was out of shape. He was saying what fighters see when they watch other fighters. The small half-steps that were there 5 years ago take more effort now. And when an opponent like Crawford takes those half-steps away, it turns a weapon into a weight. There were whispers about hunger too. The kind fans love to exaggerate and experts tend to measure. Crawford still looks hungry, and Canelo looks like he's dining in his success. Someone joked at the broadcast table. It wasn't disrespect. It was a way of acknowledging that sometimes the cat gets fat. Crawford doesn't dine in public. He counts his spoons in private. Canelo has long done both. The point, if there was one, is this. On this night, Crawford's edge felt sharper not because Canelo didn't try, but because Crawford attacked the details with a freshness you don't fake. Before we call this night inevitable in hindsight, it's worth remembering what the educated voices said when the fight was still theoretical. Devin Haney liked Crawford's chances. "If anybody can beat Canelo, it's Bud," he said. He noted the weight wouldn't be a huge disadvantage if Crawford wasn't draining himself. "I think if Bud was to win, it would be on points," Haney added. Carl Frampton predicted a clever, maybe even ugly fight. One Crawford would nick on movement, discipline, and footwork. Kenny Ellis argued a stoppage wasn't necessary. Stick to the script. Don't trade when you don't have to. Ronald Ellis, who has done hard round with Canelo, echoed that, "Don't trade. Use your feet." Timothy Bradley Jr. honed in on the first 3 minutes. The most important kind when you're fighting a slow-starting precision puncher who gets stronger as he warms up. "Got to start quick," Bradley said. "Match his energy. Keep him tentative. Keep him guessing. If Canelo closes the distance too quickly, turn off the TV. He's going to bang on shoulders, arms, body. He doesn't need the perfect shot to wear you down." Bradley knew what most missed. Crawford didn't need to jump out to an 8-0 lead on the cards. He needed to stop the tide from ever arriving. He did. Roy Jones Jr. said most of what everyone else missed. This fight was close not because the result would be close, but because there were so many small hinges it could turn on. "They're so closely knitted," he said. "You got to look for the small pieces because the small things add up." He wasn't wrong. The first faint half-step from Crawford created an overreach. The overreach created the counter. The counter created caution. The caution created a round where Canelo did less than he needed to do. Multiply by 6, then by 12, and there's your result. Michael Bisping leaned the other way. He thought size, chin, and experience would carry Canelo through a rough middle. If Bud wins, it'll be historic, he said. But I don't think it's going to happen. Canelo is the bigger guy. He's the face of boxing. He's fighting in Las Vegas. He's the bigger, stronger guy with the harder shots. He wasn't wrong about the stakes. He misread the moment. Canelo arrived ready. Crawford arrived better. All week long, the weigh-in carried symbolism. Crawford scaled 167.5 pounds. Solid, not swollen. A super middleweight not because of bloat, but because he did the work. Canelo, as ripped as he has ever been, looked like a man gearing up for speed as much as power. When Canelo told the interviewer he had trained for everything, he meant it. The problem is that in boxing, everything often does include the one thing the other man brings that you can't prepare for, the way he sees the ring. That might be the core of it. Some fighters compete with their bodies. The very best, Floyd Mayweather, Bernard Hopkins, early Andre Ward, compete with their minds first and their bodies as the instrument. Terence Crawford is that kind of fighter. It wasn't that he was faster. It's that he made faster decisions. It wasn't that he was stronger. It's that he made sure the fight never sat in a place where strength could carry the day. It wasn't that he was braver. It's that he took the right risks and refused the wrong ones. He saw more and he saw it sooner. There was talk about retirement for Canelo, whispered, mostly polite. It felt premature, and some insiders said exactly that. Still amazing, one veteran fighter said of Canelo, still one of the greatest fighters of our time. The more thoughtful question was about roles. Would fans still want to see Canelo against the next wave? Names like David Benavidez, or a clash with British Star, or a move that lets him write a different kind of chapter? The answer is probably yes. Canelo remains a household name. Those nights still pay. If he chooses them, fans will watch. The punchline of the night came from someone asked where Crawford now ranks all time. Top 10, he said, closer to top 5. Maybe not there yet, but that was incredible. It felt like measured praise from a sport not given understatement. That's how it should be. Let the performance breathe. Do not rob of context and importance by flattening it into a social media slogan. Crawford earned his place at the top of the pound-for-pound list long before the first scorecard was read. He earned it with the kind of control that separates great from elite. A word about the scorecards. The official tallies, 115 to 113 and 116 to 112, sparked annoyance from fans who thought the night deserved a wider margin. One respected voice put it this way: "It was hard to find round for Canelo. I gave him 3. Another said bluntly, "Bud basically won every round." Boxing's math is never perfect. On this night, the numbers didn't hide the truth. Crawford's combinations counted. His exits muted counters. His eyes solved problems before Canelo could finish forming them. The result didn't require a magnifying glass. It announced itself with clarity. And what of the rematch? Some want it. Some say the story was told clean enough to stand. Let them enjoy this. One senior official said with a smile, "Let him have a rest." He meant Crawford. He meant Canelo too. These nights take something from you, even when they give you everything else. The last word could go to anyone. It should go to Canelo. He reminded everyone who he was and who he intends to remain. "I feel a champion," he said, even after the belts changed hands. You take the loss, accept everything, and continue. That's the code. That's why people watch. And if you're wondering what changed most dramatically in 2 hours under neon and noise, maybe it's this. Thousands came chanting Canelo. They left chanting Crawford. That doesn't erase respect for one man. It recognizes something in another.